Europe once thought Khvicha Kvaratskhelia was just another talented winger from a small football country nobody really paid attention to. A skinny kid from Georgia, growing up surrounded by gray Soviet apartment blocks, war memories, and uncertainty. But now, Europe has a completely different problem. Because under the brightest lights of the Champions League, Kvaratskhelia turns into something terrifying. Chelsea could not stop him. Liverpool could not contain him. Bayern Munich collapsed trying to defend him, and Inter Milan watched helplessly as PSG destroyed them in the biggest Champions League final win in history. This is not just another football story anymore. The rise of one of the most dangerous players in world football. The scary part is that PSG did not simply buy a superstar. Luis Enrique built the perfect environment for Kvaratskhelia to become unstoppable. Modern football is obsessed with structure, but PSG weaponized chaos. Fluid movement, constant rotations, endless transitions. Nobody stays in one position for long. 1 second, Dembele drifts centrally. The next second, Kvaratskhelia attacks the left half space. Suddenly, Barcola appears on the opposite side. Defenders hesitate for half a second, and against players like Kvara, half a second is already too late. And honestly, that is what makes him so dangerous. Just dribbling. It is not just pace. It is the way he manipulates space before defenders even realize the danger is coming. Freeze the frame for a moment. Look at Bayern's defensive line. One defender steps toward Dembele, another tracks the overlapping run. Suddenly, Kvaratskhelia attacks the blindside space completely unnoticed. By the time defenders react, he is already accelerating toward goal. That unpredictability is exactly why Luis Enrique loves him. Statistically, the impact was immediate. He averaged over 1 completed through ball per game, more shot-creating actions than Dembele, more take-ons, more fouls won, more chaos created in transition. But honestly, stats still do not fully explain him. Some players can dominate matches without touching the ball constantly. Kvaratskhelia creates panic simply by existing in dangerous spaces. Fullbacks stop pressing high because they fear leaving space behind them. Midfielders hesitate before committing challenges. They know he can glide past them instantly. Even elite defenders start backing away when he starts running directly at them. And the Champions League is where that fear becomes obvious. Against Chelsea, he completely changed the tie in less than 30 minutes. Every touch felt dangerous. Every acceleration created panic. Then came Liverpool. Anfield. Pressure. History. It mattered. Kvaratskhelia picked up the ball, exploded into open space, glided past defenders, rounded the goalkeeper, finished with ridiculous calmness. That goal did not just eliminate Liverpool. It announced him to the entire football world. Then came Bayern Munich.
Kvaratskhelia na prawą nogę, Kvaratskhelia! On to zrobił po raz kolejny! Mówiliśmy o tym!
Kvaratskhelia looked like the most dangerous player on the pitch. Bayern's defenders kept trying to predict him, but that was the problem. You cannot predict players like this. He attacks spaces differently every single time. Sometimes he stays wide, sometimes he drifts centrally. Sometimes he waits quietly before suddenly exploding into space at full speed. Defenders become nervous because there is no pattern to follow. The frightening thing is that this version of Kvaratskhelia is far more complete than the player Napoli first signed. Back then, he was already magical. The dribbling, the flair, the impossible solo runs. Fans called him Kvaradona because some of his movements genuinely looked supernatural. But there was still a feeling that he relied mostly on instinct and individual brilliance. At PSG, he evolved into something bigger, more disciplined, more intelligent, more tactically devastating. Luis Enrique transformed PSG from a team of superstars into a collective machine. Everybody presses, everybody sacrifices, everybody runs. If you refuse to work defensively, you do not play. Simple. But he elevated Kvaratskhelia even further. He became more than a winger. Now he presses aggressively, tracks runners, attacks transition spaces, rotates constantly across the front line. He is no longer just creating moments, he is controlling entire defensive structures. And maybe the most symbolic moment happened during the Club World Cup. Kvaratskhelia took the ball directly away from Mbappe during a defensive sequence, the new number 7 taking responsibility, while the old number 7 refused to track back. That single clip perfectly represented the new PSG. No more ego football. No more superstar dictatorship. This team belongs to movement, discipline, intensity, collective destruction. What makes Kvaratskhelia special is that pressure never really changes him. Some players disappear when expectations become overwhelming. He becomes calmer, bigger, more fearless. The brighter the lights become, the better he performs. That is incredibly rare in modern football. There are talented players everywhere, but there are very few players capable of controlling Champions League knockout matches with this level of confidence. And honestly, when you look back at his journey, it becomes even crazier. This was a player rejected multiple times early in his career, a player trapped in the Russian league while Europe barely noticed him, a player whose career path was disrupted by war and instability. There was a time when most football fans genuinely had no idea who he was. Now, defenders across Europe panic every time he starts carrying the ball at full speed. Maybe that is why his story feels bigger than football sometimes. Because Kvaratskhelia represents something every football fan loves to believe in. That greatness can come from unexpected places. That talent alone is never enough without courage. That pressure can either destroy you or transform you into something stronger. The boy who once watched instability surround his childhood now lights up Champions League nights against the biggest clubs in Europe. Honestly, that is why his rise feels different from normal football success stories. This is not just about trophies or goals or statistics. This is about transformation. A player ignored by most of Europe becoming one of the most feared attackers in world football. A player once hidden in the Russian league, now dominating the biggest matches on the planet. Under Luis Enrique, Kvaratskhelia finally found the perfect system. Freedom, rotations, space, intensity, collective football. Everything that makes him dangerous became even more powerful inside this PSG machine. And now, when defenders see him attacking open grass at full speed, panic spreads instantly. But he know what is coming. Maybe that is the scariest part of all. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia is probably still getting better. And under the brightest Champions League lights, he no longer looks like an underrated winger from Georgia. He looks like the future face of European football.